So I'd like to just make a quick apology about the time it's taken from episode to episode, but I've had a pretty hectic few days sorting things out for my departure tomorrow. So we've done the whole waking up process, and I'm going to quickly go through the my time in hospital and talk about a little bit to do with a few things that cropped up along the way, and then also my time in rehab, which is really fitting actually, because it's actually my last night in the rehab centre now, and then I go into my own apartment, which I'll be in for 3 months, whilst doing my rehab and stuff back in the hospital, but on a daily basis. But just means I've got that kind of freedom to kind of explore and do what I want, no curfews or anything, and kind of look after myself. So like I said, just going to go through now what happened as far as in hospital, and then also through rehab, through a case of some photos, and I'm just going to explain some milestones and stuff that I went through, and then also how I went about business and how I stayed positively minded throughout the whole thing. So from my time of waking up to going on the ward was a week, and then when I was on the ward, for a week again, before unfortunately having 2 blood clots on my lungs, which actually was a lot more severe than I knew at the time. I didn't have a clue that it was putting as much pressure on my heart as it was. I had to have a surgery that basically went into my lungs and jet washed the clots to try and break them down so that then my body could produce or break them down and then get rid of them. They were looking to break down about 30-40%, but actually turned out to be 80 or 90%. They broke down and just kind of left my lungs straight away. So even though I was in a bad situation, the actual outcome was fantastic. It was kind of best possible outcome, which was fantastic, as I said. But the good thing is, from there I spent a couple of days in ICU, and then I was back on the ward. And in that week I had people come and visit me all the time, and that kept me in good spirits. And yeah, it's just the whole thing and support has been absolutely brilliant, and that's partly the reason why I've been able to keep so strong. And there's been a few emotional times with a few conversations had to have with doctors and things, with my arm being up in the air as far as whether I was going to keep it or not. So all those things whilst in hospital were a little bit of a struggle, but I was always thinking, okay, it's got to be what it's got to be. If I lose it, unfortunately it wasn't meant to happen, for whatever reason, as to whether my flap or my arm, so this bit here, was going to take, and all of those kind of things kind of were in the forefront of my mind all the time. I also, whilst I was in hospital, obviously couldn't move a great deal, so I had to have people move me all the time, and I developed quite stiff back and neck and things, and Brenton bought me this lovely thing.
How's that, Bill?
It's something. But the one thing that really started driving me on was when I went to rehab. And when I entered rehab, as I said in the previous video about saying to my dad, I don't know what this is, but I'm going to make the best of it. I did that when I came to rehab. This is a picture of me kind of first admissions into the rehab centre, and then also my mum and Bailey were here at that time, so they were able to take me outside, and that was really nice. And then from then started basically kicking on with my rehab, and within a week I stood up on one leg, on my left leg, which was the first photo I uploaded, which a few people thought that I was up on my feet after what must have been 6 weeks of my accident, which was a bit wishful thinking, but I got there in the end, obviously. But over the period of time, it's been a hard graft. I've had 30% weight bearing, 50% weight bearing, and then full weight bearing on my right leg, whilst strengthening up my left leg enough that I can start to transfer from a bed to my chair and all those things. But what I did do was, there was points where there was a frustration. I got frustrated with the small thing of when I had to have a shower, I had to sit up so that I could wash my back and things, so that obviously I had to be washed by someone else. And when I went to sit up, I couldn't sit up. I couldn't go from a lying down position to a sitting upright position myself. So I was doing crunches in bed during the day between my physio, because I knew that I needed to be strong enough that I could hold my own weight again. And this happened all the way through. Like, I would do things away from the gym which would just help me, and that's the reason why my recovery has been so fast. Along the way, obviously, there's been these big milestones of walking and going on the Ultra G machine, which has been really good for my walking mobility, and the ability to kind of keep my gait and my form in my walking throughout the whole process. But what I have really done in this rehab centre is I have really celebrated the small wins. And that is so important, that the small little wins are the things that get you through, because it was months from when I went from 50% weight bearing to full weight bearing on my leg, and that was really frustrating for me. Obviously, I started to get stronger, and I just felt like I could do it. I wasn't ready by any chance, but my mentality, I thought I was ready. So what I did do was celebrate the small wins, celebrate the fact that I was able to walk a longer distance, celebrate the fact that I did a higher weight, celebrate the fact that I'm moving on to new exercises, and that really, really helped me as far as small goal setting and really achieving them. The other thing that has been really kind of important for me during rehab also has been my reflection. I reflect at periods of where I've come from to where I'm at now. And upon that reflection process, I also would think about how fortunate I am to be in my position that I'm in. And I know that might sound bizarre to some of you, to think, obviously, all my injuries and things like that. But actually, I could have been so much worse. In the accident and the severity of the accident, I could have been so much worse. And I really appreciate the fact that I am able to talk to you the way that I'm talking to you guys now, and able to have conversations with people and have a laugh, and still be lighthearted, and also not have to be in the wheelchair for the rest of my life. And that has been the only times I've been emotional, is more of the overwhelming feeling of all of your support at home, and in Australia, everyone that supported me. Honestly, I cannot thank you enough, because even earlier, when I was packing up some of my stuff, I looked through all the cards and everything that people had sent me, and earlier I was just like, it's amazing. It really is amazing what you guys have done to help and support me and my family. It's been amazing, and I cannot thank everyone involved enough. Even the small messages, everything. Honestly, I've read every single one. I'm sorry if I haven't replied, because there were periods where I was drugged up to my eyeballs, and I did receive so many messages, but I can guarantee you I've read every single one, and every single one I've thought, wow, I'm lucky to have so many great people around me. So thank you for that. And I would say also that's been the process of me from hospital to rehab, and I'm sorry that it's taken long, and it's kind of whistle-stop tour through the kind of rehab section, but the curtains are closing on it now, and I'll be posting videos up when, like, going out on adventures and day in the life of myself, for example, That is what I'll be doing from now on. And yeah, once again, sorry it's taken a bit of time, but I just wanted to go through some of the things that I have found to help me, and if it helps anyone else in even in everyday working life, for example, that's brilliant for me. And also, it's been really beneficial for me to look back, like I said, in that reflective process, and realise how lucky I am to have people around me and to be in a position that I'm in. And yeah, here's to working hard and getting back to the UK, looking to get back in August, and be in a relatively fit condition. So once again, thank you, and I hope you keep it like up to date on my progress, and also me and going out and kind of exploring a little bit more of Australia now, and certainly Melbourne to start off with. I really want to thank you.